Hello everybody, TMW here as usual. Once again, it is time for Mailbag Monday because it's November the 11th. That's a Monday. Welcome back to SFF180. How was everybody's weekend? I hope everybody had a really great weekend. Mine was lovely. Thank you for asking. Looks like about 10 items in the stack this week. Let's check them out real quick, shall we? Okay, so here they are. This week was generally front-loaded, which means that most of my mail turned up Monday, Tuesday, most of the books in my mail. And then the rest of the week was quiet. It tends to work out that way sometimes. That's fine. It's all good stuff. We're going to have a look at it. And for those of you who are new here the first time, the whole idea behind Mailbag Monday is I show you the review copies I've received. In the comments below, you tell me which of these you want me to prioritize in the review queue. Now, I am getting ready to start adding some books to the queue based on your requests from previous videos. So start looking for some books like that here in the next week or two from the previous Mailbag Mondays. And so without further ado, let's dig into this stack, shall we? Oh, and once again, I want to say thanks to everybody who have made the last 2 weeks of this little YouTube experiment so much fun. Some good feedback, which I really appreciate, especially on my Ender video. For some reason, that was like a crazy tough one to record and edit. There were just so many technical Murphy's Law screw-ups, but I got through it somehow. I'm starting to get the hang of just how much work and how difficult doing this YouTubing thing can be, if you want to do it right, that is. But I don't know. I mean, I'm pleased with it overall. I will continue to work out kinks and issues as I learn and progress. And so if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so, because it will make the world a much more wonderful place for, kittens and bunnies and those, cute little animals with pouches from Australia who have the big eyes. All right. So this first package is from my good friends at Tor. Okay, and this one is a graphic novel. It is by Fred Chow. It's called Johnny Hero, The Skills That Pay the Bills. Skills to Pay the Bills, excuse me. Johnny Hero has spent the last few years working as an underpaid sushi chef, say that 5 times fast, for his stingy, negative boss, Mr. Masago. And he's beginning to doubt his ability to provide his girlfriend, Mayumi, with the kind of life he thinks she deserves. Well, you should get a less shallow and clingy and demanding girlfriend, dude. This looks absolutely delightful. I'm sure I will enjoy reading it. I'm going to be very honest with you, though. Graphic novels are a category of book that I do not actually review on sfreviews.net or here on SFF180. Reason being, when I started the website way back in the age of the dinosaurs, I decided, look, it's impossible in a single human lifetime for me to read all of the books that I would love to read before I die. So I had to kind of do a little bit of triage. I had to disqualify some things, not because I didn't like them, not because I have a prejudice against them, but simply because I needed to stay focused in a particular direction. So I decided my focus was going to be prose, science fiction, and fantasy novels. And I was not going to do graphic novels. I was not going to do the horror genre, as much as I am a huge fan of horror. I wasn't going to do media tie-in stuff. So like, not going to do any Halo books or think Star Wars, Trek, things like that, right? Also, I figure, particularly in the case of media tie-ins, there's a whole fan community that's very tightly knit on the internet that is probably already filling that need. And so I wanted to be the guy who just reviewed general science fiction and fantasy stuff that really probably isn't getting all of the publicity and all the love and the attention that stuff that's already corporate and big is getting. So, but you know what? This looks like a real charmer. And so if you like graphic novels, check this out. Fred Chow is the artist's name. Johnny Hero, The Skills to Pay the Bills is the book. It is out right now, apparently, according to the sales sheet from Tor Books. A very attractive edition. And here is another slim envelope from Tor. Let's see what is in this one. Okay, now this seems to have a real case of urban fantasy genericus here. But I don't want to be unfair. Cat Adams to Dance with the Devil. This is an urban fantasy series with a character named Celia Graves. Part human, part vampire, part siren. Okay, guys. I hate to be like 0 for 2 on today's list, but this is another genre that I kind of put an embargo on when I was doing sfreviews.net when I launched it, and that was vampire fiction, okay? And in this case, I think it really is sort of an instance of my own personal tastes and prejudices. I just don't like vampire stories generally. So I'm very, no disrespect whatsoever to Ms. Adams. I will not be reviewing this book on sfreviews.net or SFF180. However, I know that there is a fan base for this kind of thing. So there you are. Okay, Well, it looks like I'm sort of making all of the reviewing decisions for you guys, at least up to this point. But there's still plenty of stuff in here. Other excellent work. Many thanks to all the publishers who send me so many great things. Whether I choose to read them or not, it's very much appreciated to be part of that, and to have the opportunity to show books to people, even if I might not care for them. And this is one of these very complicated envelopes. Hang on, gang. This is going to take a bit of work. Adult-proof envelopes are not my friend. Here we go. And underneath is bubble wrap. I'll have fun popping this later. I'm kind of getting some feeble pops out of that. Oh well. And beneath the bubble wrap, paper wrapping and tape, as if it were a gift. This is, okay, everyone, take some page out of this company's book in terms of how you package your review copies. It's difficult to get into, but I know the dang thing has arrived safe and sound. Which is all the more important because this is a book that has come across many, many miles of ocean to reach me, so they'll be happy to know that it arrived safe and sound. I was contacted by this publisher in New Zealand. This is a New Zealand fantasy novel from a New Zealand author and a New Zealand publishing house. Consequently, it will probably be unlikely to get much in the way of coverage in America, unless it's through one of the really, really big sites like SF Signal or Locus or what have you. But this is called The Wind City. The author is Wigmore, not Wingmore, Wigmore. Wellington, the Wind City, New Zealand's home of art and culture, but darker forces, forgotten forces, are starting to reappear. Aotearoa's, I'll have to work on the pronunciation of that character's name, displaced Iwi Atua. Suddenly I'm being slammed with all of these invented words by this author. Anyway, okay, apparently there is magical dark doings and goings on in Wellington. A war is coming and few can stand in their way. A saint, lovably fearless, temporarily destitute, currently unable to find a shirt, may be our only hope. Tony, suddenly unemployed, and potentially a Taniwa herself, has little choice but to accept the role her bloodline dictates. Okay, I get the feeling that this is employing perhaps influence from a bunch of lore that we Yanks will be unfamiliar with, but I'm fascinated by giving this a try. I mean, it looked like a really beautiful book, and I thought, well, more international fantasy and science fiction probably deserves some coverage. The Wind City, Summer Wigmore. This comes from a company called Edge Publishing up in Canada. They've sent me things off and on for many years. They're very pleasant folks. They're from Calgary. And they tend to do a lot of theme anthologies, though, which aren't really my thing. I tend to stick to novels, but it's always worthwhile to see this stuff. This is a series, an anthology series that Edge does very regularly. Maybe annually, maybe a little more than that, but it's called Tesseracts and Speculating Canada. So this is basically Canadian speculative fiction authors which are featured in this series of anthologies. Again, check out edgewebsite.com, interesting URL, if you want to find out more about what this company is up to and the kind of books they do. But this is the Tesseracts anthology series from Edge. Okay, so that was I think a spring release, and so is this. This one is a novel. Kind of has a very small pressy look to the cover there. I've seen better from them, but that's all right. The Trillionist by Sagan Jeffries. Looks kind of young adultish, but it is slated from Edge Books in the spring. Okay, and now we come to some big stuff. All right, this is from a company that I'm very impressed with. Another Canadian company, this one from Toronto. This is Chizine Publications sent me this massive thing, and it feels like it has at least 3 books in it, so let's have a look at what they are. Now, Chizine do a lot of collections. They also do quite a bit of novels, but we will see what they... Okay. All right, so this is from a fellow named Christopher Golden, who is probably well known to those of you who really like, say, dark fantasy / getting close to horror, but still more on maybe like the fantasy edge of horror and not the full-on horror edge of it. But let's see. A circus clown willing to give anything to be funny. A spectral gunslinger who must teach a young boy to defend the ones he loves. A lonely widower making a farewell tour of the places that meant the world to his late wife. A faded Hollywood actress out to deprive her ex-husband of his prized possession. A grieving mother who will wait, by the railroad tracks for a ghostly train that always has room for one more. A young West Virginia miner whose only hope of survival is a bedtime story. These are just some of the characters to be found in Tell My Sorrows to the Stones, Christopher Golden. So this is a short story collection. A collection is different from an anthology. An anthology is a book featuring stories by many authors. A collection is a book featuring short stories by one author. I will more frequently do collections than anthologies. And know that Christopher Golden is a much beloved and respected name in dark fantasy. Tell My Sorrows to the Stones. It's from Chizine Publications. Looks fantastic, as do all their books. Have excellent production values. Here you are. Now, I do believe, I'll have to check my email, but Chizine is doing some kind of an online contest. So what I'll do is I'll look back up in my emails. I will find that information if I still have it, and if I find it, what I'll do is I'll post the details of it in the About section below. And also from, ooh, okay, here we go. I have seen this book also already. So a lot of these titles have already been released. But this one looks really cool. I dig this. Wiki World. It's by Paul DeFilippo. And now again, he is another one of these authors like Christopher Golden who sort of skirts the weird kind of misty gray area of fantasy overlapping into some horror, but mostly into kind of these dark, dreamlike areas of the imagination. But this one has very much a science fiction-y character to it, doesn't he? Wiki World, again, seems very techy. You will not recognize the future, it says, but you will see yourself in it. Oh, well, here we are. This is not a novel. Again, it's more stories, another collection. In 19 stories, the generous offering collected from the last half-decade of award-winning author Paul DeFilippo's brilliant, mind-boggling body of work, Wiki World tears the veil off humanity's past, present, and future to show us that we are not prepared for how strange the world and the universe beyond truly is. I think this looks really terrific. So there you have it, Wiki World by Paul DeFilippo from Chizine Publications, on sale now. And I was right, there are 3 books packed into this little envelope, so let's see the last one. Ooh, Simply Beautiful edition, take a look at that. Celestial Inventories by Steve Rasnick-Tem, another story collection. Let's check it out. Among the transforming events in these 22 genre-bending stories, an office worker and his wife fade into a literal invisibility. A photographer discovers the unexpected in the faces of dead children. A girl moves onto a strange street when she fails to return from trick-or-treating. An artist devotes his career to contracting diseases. A plague of head explosions becomes a new form of terrorism. Wow, okay. Phone David Cronenberg quickly. A couple's aging dismantles reality, and a seemingly pointless life finds final expression in bits of folded paper. I mean, you read that stuff, and you're like, the imagination, the mind that comes up with these premises, these concepts. Now, I know a lot of this sounds like flat-out horror. I still think it sounds very slipstream, very kind of weird. Reality isn't quite what it seems to be. A dark, edgy fantasy. So I may very well read this soon, because this one sounds simply delicious. But it's Steve Rasnick-Tem's new collection, Celestial Inventories, and it is on sale at present. Okay, moving on. The last couple of arrivals, and we're back to my good friends at Tor, whom I love dearly. Let's see what we have. Except, guys, okay, this kind of shipping, packaging, I understand, maybe it's very much more protective of the books than standard bubble wrap, but good lord, these are a pain in the butt to open. You have to, like, tear this middle, you have to, yeah. This is like some kind of video game lockpick puzzle or something. All right, okay. I got it, I'm getting it. It will not defeat me. Aha, okay. This is a book called Allegiance by Beth Bernabe, not to be confused with another very, very big book out right now in the young adult world called Allegiant. This is a new book in her series River of Souls. I do have the first volume. Oh, series finale blah, 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 of the River of Souls trilogy. So I will look and double check to see if I have the first 2, because I'm fairly sure I do somewhere in all of these ungainly piles in my home. Yeah, Passion Play, Queen's Hunt, and Allegiance. I do have both of those. So again, here we have like another trilogy that is all sort of wrapped and ready for me to just do in one go. If you folks are interested, I mean, I'll do it eventually at some point, but let me know if you'd like to prioritize Beth Bernabe's River of Souls trilogy. And it is out in stores right now. And the final arrival, once again, vacuum sealed in this. I have a feeling that every time I open one of these, I'm afraid that, the vacuum is going to just suck me in and I will be drawn into the envelope and explosively decompress. It's like there's a little pocket universe in here. Crying out loud. Okay, this is a really super impressive looking anthology, and this may be one that I will have to definitely pay very real attention to. But check it out. This is what you call, I guess, kind of a definitive or a watershed anthology of books. It is simply called 21st Century Science Fiction, edited by David G. Hartwell and Patrick Nielsen Hayden. Also two giants at Tor. Looks like they are really filling this up. Cory Doctorow, Paolo Bacigalupi, Catherine Valente, John Scalzi, Joe Walton, Charlie Strauss, Elizabeth Bear, Peter Watts, Tony Ballantyne, Vandana Singh, new name for me. And then the list just goes on and on and on and on and on down the back. This is just all the A-listers are here, kids. Let's see. 21st Century Science Fiction is an enormous anthology, close to 250,000 words, edited by two of the most prestigious and award-winning editors in the SF field, featuring recent stories from some of science fiction's greatest up-and-coming authors. Oh yeah, this thing is definitely packed to the rafters. But it does appear to contain stories that have already appeared elsewhere already. So it's not an anthology of brand new work or original work. It is simply compiling, I guess, what Hartwell and Hayden consider to be definitive new fiction that really sets a benchmark for quality in science fiction today. The 21st Century Science Fiction Anthology from Tor, massive, super impressive hardcover, in stores right now. Okay, and there you have it. That is this week's last week's mailbag. Thank you very much for tuning in. Now, as always, in the comments, let me know what you want me to prioritize. Sometimes it may seem like nothing's really standing out or tickling your fancy, but at the same time, you may be really surprised what some kind of strange, unheard of, diamond in the rough looking thing might reveal between its pages. You could be very pleasantly surprised. So, as always, thank you for a terrific first 2 weeks in this channel. Please leave a like if you enjoyed watching. Subscribe to the channel. That's super important. Really appreciate it if you do that. Helps the channel to grow. Spread the word through sharing the videos on social media, what have you. And I'm going to get some reading done tonight. So until I see you next time, happy reading.